It's an historical day today. In Brussels, TUI and the South Aegean region signs a memorandum of understanding with the sustainability, which is a very important subject for tourism and, of course, for you. Tell us some words about this.
Actually, it's important that you have a sustainability agenda and we have big goals. Agendas which end 2050, 2040. But more important is to get going. And here we found partners with Rhodes, a growing destination, a strong destination, and a destination we want to invest. And that's actually facilitating that we have the Co-Lab activities, where we want to test the first steps and we want, based on science-based targets, measure progress to find a good, sustainable, end-to-end solution for our people.
You are very satisfied and very happy, as I understand, for the season, for the demand and the bookings. Tell us some few words about the bookings general for TUI and especially for Greece and the South Aegean region.
The bookings are coming back and we have been suffering, but right now we are on a consistent basis, week by week by week, above pre-crisis levels, with also higher prices because people stay longer instead of 8.5 days, 9.5 days. And what is true for all of our guests is particularly true for Greece and Southeast Aegean region. And here particularly through the very good crisis management in the 2 years, people have trust, and Greece is amongst the best booked destinations, and particularly South Aegean part of it.
An emblematic destination is Rhodes and South Aegean, and a travel giant like TUI. You cooperate for sustainability. What we will expect for you? What is your next step?
We have actually always worked in verticals. We wanted to have the most sustainable airline and cruise line and markets and hotels. And with Rhodes, it's the first time we go end to end for a full island, and we want to build it as a role model. So Rhodes is big enough and great enough and invest a lot that it can be a role model for other destinations, and we see an enormous interest amongst other destinations of what we are doing in Rhodes. So Rhodes will be the blueprint of destinations for other regions to follow. The customers pay more, so the price levels on the packages are 20% pre-crisis levels, plus pre-crisis levels of 120%. And the reason for the 120% are a couple or three, but the main reason is that customers stay, instead of 8.5 days, 9.5 days on average, right? So they stay a little bit longer, and that creates a 20%. So we didn't increase the prices, but customers buy more. Now, is this good or is this not good? Yeah? The first thing is, when you have 100% of customers with 120% of prices, what will happen to the revenues? 120% of revenues, right? So because you multiply customers by prices and you come to the revenues. So we will be definitely in Q4 the revenue strongest quarter in company history if the wheels don't fall off the wagon. So revenue-wise, it will be very good. And 80% sustainably certified hotels before the crisis, right? So that was always something we strive for. But at the same time, it's also clear when you want to make tourism sustainable, then also not only the verticals, but also the horizontal tourism needs to be sustainable, and therefore we have been discussing for quite a while, you know, if we could do something in destinations. And of course that is only possible if you not only do it in tourism, but do it with the whole economy in destinations. And therefore we got, you know, we had a plan to do it in a public-private partnership, and that was actually, and it should be scalable as well, so not only a very small destination. And therefore we looked at possible destinations. Also, one of the areas which we were thinking were helpful was if the destination was growing, because if you had a destination which was growing, you need to invest anyway, and therefore the question, and sustainability needs to be accepted by the people and destination as well. So it is not only ecologic but also economic and social sustainability. And if you invest, that's much easier. Yeah? So therefore we're looking, and actually then the plan came up together with the government in Greece, and of course Rhodes and the governor in Greece stuck out because it's one of the strongest growing destinations we have. And also now, in June, we already have, and that's the governor said, we have as many guests in June as we usually have in terms of planes or islands, usually have in August. Oh. And that says, it is enormous strength of the destination. And therefore we were happy that together with the Prime Minister in Greece and the governor in Rhodes, the mayor, we actually could announce to form, in terms of the Co-Lab, to form the first sustainable, fully sustainable destination as a role model for other destinations to follow. And I think, Governor, you could potentially say a little bit about the complexities and the money which is involved as well, because when you think about it's water, it's waste, and so on. But maybe you can, the efforts, also the public party is actually doing. So you are doing is enormous, and therefore I think it's a very very important and great project. Yeah. Maybe you want to add, on how, because you said very impressive numbers, I have to say. Or is that not public?
It is. It's more than public.
Okay.
It's getting public.
Maybe you...
First of all, we're very proud that we're here with Mr. Joussen, and it's a very big day for us. And I think it's a very big day for the whole tourism industry, because there is a very big discussion all around the world, especially for the last years, on how tourism affects the lives of people at the destinations. Well, South Aegean region is the first tourism region in Greece, and I'll give the first impressive number is that how much of our GDP, local GDP, depends on tourism. So you won't find it anywhere else in the world. It's 97.1%. 97.1%. So for us, it's tourism or nothing. Speaking about our economy, all right? So we have a partnership, and we work with TUI for many years. And now we're very proud that we work with the leader of the industry, the global leader, to do something about the tourism of the future. So it's a 5-year plan. We have the experience of small destinations like Astypalea, like Chalki or Tilos, but I think that this is the right time, to go in a scalable destination as Rhodes, which is growing even higher than 2019. That was our record year, and so far we are 13% up from the record year. So we have already recovered the COVID period. I believe that we gain a lot of trust from the markets, the two COVID years, 2020 and 2021. And today we signed the MOU of the Rhodes Co-Lab. The Rhodes Co-Lab is a 5-year plan, but we're confident enough that we will start delivering results very soon. I would say from year number 2 maximum. Why? because we have already 150 million euros on the table. 150 million euros
150, yes.
already. These are tenders that have been already launched. It's 100 million euros from the region of South Aegean and 50 million euros from the municipality of Rhodes. Tenders have already been launched. We finalize now the business plan of the Rhodes Co-Lab. In the next month it's going to be final. And we're very optimistic that we will deliver something that the whole world needs. Not only us.
Tenders for what kind of project?
The ones that have been already launched.
Yes.
They have to do with water treatment and waste treatment.
Mm-hmm.
These are two very big topics.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, not the only topics that the Rhodes Co-Lab has to do with, but these are very big topics, and we want to, we want to deal with these issues in the very beginning, because our biggest challenge, I believe, is going to be in the human environment of tourism, and with the experience of TUI. I think that we're in a very, very good position now, and very optimistic about the future.
Okay. And what is the role of TUI in the project?
We provide the first thing. We work against science-based targets, right? So the question is, how do you measure success, and what is the reference point? So we have a project office,
yes,
together with PwC in order to make it a real exercise, right? The second, of course, is project management. So actually, together with the public, to get all partners on board, right? So including the hoteliers, including the other partners. And thirdly, we need to bring customers and enough investments, right? So, and that's the question about, it's important, and the mayor said 97% of GDP is tourism. We need to make this 90%, 97% a bigger economy, because otherwise the investment would be not there. Otherwise,
right,
local people would not buy into the project. I think the important point is to convince everybody on the island that this is not harming 97% of the economy, but it is the way to lead this 97% of the economy into the future. It's a path for growth, it's a path for prosperity, it's the path for better education, better local participation. And that is our role, right? But this is, of course, again, Thomas said we provide the dance floor, but we cannot do all the dances ourselves. When you have wastewater treatment, you need to have the infrastructure. When you have, clean energy, or you need to have the energy. So everybody needs to be working against a framework, but we, of course, provide the scientific infrastructure, and we provide the guest to make it then something which is doable in all our destinations, and we want to create a role model that Rhodes becomes the role model for the other destinations we serve.
In the role model?
If I'm allowed to add something, sir. We're proud to say that we started tourism in Greece. Now we're designing the tourism of the future, right? We're designing the destinations of the future. And the question is, are we allowed to do that without the market, without the industry? So what is TUI for us? TUI for us is exactly what I described, is the look of the industry. So we are the public sector, and we design what? We design what we dream of, right? But it has to be designed in a way that will support the economy and you know, I don't know if it sounds cheap, but clients should be part of it. And who knows the industry, and who knows what people want, what people need better than us, the leader of the industry, of tourism industry. So TUI for us was a critical point for us to make the decision and say to jump in this very ambitious and very expensive project. But without TUI, we wouldn't start it.
But it's not only about water treatment and waste. It's
no, it's a digital environment. It's human capital. It's biodiversity. It's an holistic problem. It's an holistic problem.
And it's an invitation. It's not a closed shop. Yeah, that's also very important that we said from the beginning. We prepare the dance floor, TUI and the government. But everybody should feel invited, also competitors. Yeah, so because we want to create a role model, a blueprint for the future, which also can scale at other destinations at some point.
Yeah, and it's working against science-based targets. I mean, that's again, you know, something which is important. We have I mean, it will be testified afterwards. It will be, you know, designed in order to meet, you know, the highest standards of the sustainability agenda. Yeah. And we work. You know, that's how we work with you know, also in our verticals. You know, we have exactly the same, you know, programs for our airlines. But the airlines themselves, the cruise lines on themselves, the hotels on themselves, cannot actually generate or make or they are instrumental, but they cannot automatically generate a sustainable destination. So, in a sustainable destination, it's actually a bigger thing, right? And we say if tourism in general should become sustainable, we need to look at the big picture. You know, that's the idea.
And where could it be duplicate?
I mean, you know, when we talked to the Prime Minister, and we had a meeting with the Prime Minister. I mean, of course, the first thing is that other Greek islands look at it. Everybody in Greece is looking at it because, but of course, I mean, because Rhodes is such a big destination, it's very big. That is more or less it's
the biggest destination in Greece.
Yeah, actually. Is actually it can be duplicated everywhere. Yeah.
Where in Greece or?
Oh, everywhere in the world. No, absolutely. I mean, when you think about you know, a destination which is serving just Rhodes is how many customers? Is 500, 600. But South Aegean is how many?
The islands?
Yeah, the islands. South Aegean, how many?
48 inhabited islands.
No, but also customers, tourists.
Oh, 6 million.
6 million. I mean, it's huge.
Rhodes is 3 million. Right?
Yeah, Rhodes is 3.
I think there will be 80% you can copy to other destinations. There might be 20% which are different, but that's exactly what we want to find out.
And yeah, we need to find out. I mean, the important point is nobody has done a project like this, and therefore I think it will be an interesting. It is an interesting.
We'll have to work on new things. We'll have innovation. We've worked a lot of that the past years. In 2 days' time, on Thursday, I fly with the Greek Prime Minister to Astipala, and the CEO of the Volkswagen Group is coming, Dr. Dis, and we will make the presentation of mobility on demand on that island. And this is mobility on demand is prepared 100% from the region of South Aegean. And we're very proud of it, and we're so, you know, focused on innovation. And you mentioned where else could it be duplicated? Well, our ambition is first all over the islands, at least the islands, all the other islands of the region. But I think that we'll be more than happy if other destinations around Europe or around the world, you know, follow the example. We believe that this is going to be a beacon. Rhodes is going to be the beacon of sustainability.
And you will communicate towards the customer?
Yeah, that was one of the things where actually, which I believe is, I mean, it should be, if, you know, I think, it's not proven, but I think that the sustainability is coming up in customers' mind. So it's getting more and more and more important. And therefore I think not only we do the right thing, but also it will be attractive. It will be something, if you market it, will be attractive to the clients as well. I mean, we saw that, for example, I give you one example which is it's a little bit different, but for example, when you go to certain destinations, people, more and more people say, I want to have local products. So I want to have the olive oil, I want to have the wine, I want to have of local, right? So and the authenticity for is more important, because people feel it's the right thing, right? To consume local products, and so on and so on, and this goes into the same direction. It's not good enough to have a hotel and a nice beach and so on. The people want to have sustainable holidays, and this is an increasing trend. At the same time, they want to have holidays. So it's not like, we do sustainability, but we don't go for vacation. This is not the point. We need to combine sun and beach and a nice experience with a sustainability experience as well.
But question, but is it not more durable to go on holidays closer to the home?
Yeah, that's this is a very interesting question. I think when you first of all we had that experience, or we had this when the pandemic was, there was some trends, but of course everything was full. I mean, in Germany, for example, you don't even in the peak times, you need destinations which have scale. And you cannot educate customers and to say, wait a moment, you can do actually, when you look at the prices for the Baltic Sea, for example, North Sea in Germany, it was hilarious. And the second, that's one argument. The second argument is, of course, when you look at Europe, but also when you look at any destination, how can we imagine that I mean, tourism is a force for good insofar that it actually is generating the investments and generating transfer of wealth, where otherwise investments would not happen. So if Rhodes didn't have tourism, 97% of the economy wouldn't exist. And can you imagine Belgium, or can you imagine Germany, and so on? Just 10%. Sometimes you say.
And what are the 3%?
What are the other 3%? But can you imagine? And therefore, I think sustainability needs to be social and economic as well. And if you didn't have the tourism, I think personally the participation of local communities, for example, in south of Europe, for example, in other destinations we are serving, would not be there, and therefore I think it is a very good means in order to transfer wealth and actually get investments into infrastructure, into participation of communities which otherwise would actually be in difficult times. So therefore, it's not good for the society. It's not good for Europe as a whole. It's also, and of course, I mean, as much as I like the North Sea and the Baltic Sea, I mean, it is comparably in the peak season first full, and second, there's a lot of people who love to go to Greece.
Yes, I know.
Let me explain something. 97% is not generated only by tourism. 97% is depending on tourism.
Directly.
All right. So
local commerce.
There is a discussion the past years in some destinations like Venice. I think it started from Venice about over-tourism. That was a word that we haven't heard before. What is over-tourism? What does it mean? So we don't. I was very anxious when I heard it the first time. I said, "What is over-tourism? What do they mean by saying that?" For me, tourism should be always an escape of what people are living now. And a destination should always be able, to receive customers and receive tourists in a way that it will preserve the place for the next generation. So is it an obligation to the next generations? Of course it is. It is an obligation to the next generations. But it is an obligation that has to be served in a way that the next generations will also have the chance to make the living. Not only preserve the nature, but also give them the chance to make a living. So that's why the combination with the destination that is so strong in tourism. Rhodes has 15% of all hotel beds of Greece. It's an island only, all right? And it has 15% of all hotel beds of Greece, all right?
50% of the globe?
1/5
of all hotel beds.
Of all hotel beds of Greece. This is only one island, all right? So, are we going to deliver to the next generations only the nature of the island? Yeah, we will deliver the nature of the island, but the natural environment, but also the economical and social environment in a way that they can be able to make the living as we did.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's important, but also the UN sustainability agenda recognizes and has actually made a plan that when you don't have economic sustainability, so you cannot make your living, you don't care for for the world around us, so for actually the nature. I mean, we see that very often, and also here I think when you have the investments, when you have a good way of living, then you start thinking about how can I preserve the island, how can I preserve the destination, because otherwise customers will not come anymore, right? And otherwise, actually, the future is more problematic. So I think I think it's a good synthesis. We need to find a way of preserving the nature and preserving the beautiful island itself, and have economic and social participation.
Yes, the best of both worlds.
It would be, yes, it would be.
And this means also really strengthening local participation, because it's local participation in value chain, in local product, all these topics.
Yeah.
That will be enhanced. Yes.
It's part of the program. Also, one on the analysis of the PwC we are doing, that we really look how we can have more local participation for local producers. Fritz just mentioned the olive oil or wine. We had a project some years ago in another island where we created something like an association, because all the providers have been too small to serve to hotels and restaurants, but then they started an association together, and then they have become big enough to deliver to hotels and restaurants.
To produce at scale. That's all part of the project, because it's not. This will be all part of the measurements and part of the baselining and the future targets as well.
So it's you have more people more tourists than before the COVID, if I understand. And about TUI Group in general, how do you emerge from the two first turbulent COVID years? Smaller, not smaller, more fit?
First of all, I mean, we have reduced we have actually strengthened TUI in the crisis enormously. I mean, we have taken out 400 million of cost.
Yes.
We have digitized the whole value chain. We have actually reduced capacities when necessary, so adapted capacities, particularly the airline field. But also we have entered growth markets like activities. So activities already today, in destination activities, already today is 25% higher, even with lower customers than pre-crisis. Everything which you do, water parks, museums, everything which you do in tours and activities, in destinations.
So that's amusement.
That's amusement. Yeah, that's amusement. And you know, we digitize the processes here. The app is now the biggest sales channel for activities. You know, people have their documents in the app, and before even they go in destination, they can start looking what they can be doing. So we have done, I think, our homework in the crisis, and now the bookings are very strong, and we started, you know, for summer in something like 72% of pre-crisis, you know, in January, and now we are at 89%. So actually, it's catching up. And every week for this summer, and every week now we are around 115% of volume every booking week now. So the 89 will go to 90 and so on and so on. So we expect for the full summer to be at levels of 19, so at levels of pre-crisis, but with 20% higher prices.
What?
Higher prices. So this was volume. So this is number of customers. But today, with almost 20% higher prices. And the interesting thing is, why is actually higher prices? Are now the prices like for like higher? No, it's not. But the main driver is that people, instead of 8.5 days on average, go 9.5 days on average to vacation.
We're happy to go back on vacation.
They are so happy that they stay on average a day longer. Yeah, and that is interesting because this shows already in Greece, but in other destinations as well, with the levels of customers being pre-crisis levels, you know, end of summer, that's what we expect. But then longer stays, 1 day longer stays, there will be enormous scarcity, right? So there will be a scarcity of beds, and we see that already, and that's what the governor said. I mean, already today we fly to Rhodes as many flights as usually we fly at the height of the high season, which is August. Yeah, so you see an enormous scarcity, and therefore I think the prices per vacation are not higher now, but there will be no last minute also. I mean, everything will be booked, and then you will have pressure, of course, into the other destinations as well. No, Greece is the strongest, only if every bed is full. So, but you will see, Governor.
We'll make the season longer. We don't send people to other destinations. Let's agree on that.
But in the peak.
All right, we'll make the season. We'll make the season longer, right? We'll make it in December.
But in peak season, you know, that's what I see. In Greece, particularly, but also Spain. But in Greece, the first, every bed will be taken. There will be nothing free, and we have. I mean, I personally have not seen such a strong booking with such long stays in the time in my industry here, and including the price levels high. No, the good thing is the price levels need to be high because the fuel prices are high. Yeah. So, but they are covering it as well. So,
not only that, there are many prices for it.
Many prices, but that's true. But fuel prices are the most significant. The other prices are also up, and this might. But this may be for the people and for future season, but for this season we don't see any effect.
And there is no influence of the Ukrainian war, and also for Rhodes, or
a couple of
the Russian tourist doesn't come anymore. No?
We had a little bit of influence a couple of weeks. I mean, it's a horrific war, and it's but you know, for tourism itself, in our main countries and main destinations, not. Of course, when you look right now, some of the destinations where we had stronger Russian participation, maybe, but then also replacement, because I mean the destinations are so full. Yeah, but I think you see the same. Huh?
In Rhodes, there were many Russian and Ukrainians.
Did you have many Russians in Rhodes?
Yeah, we had. Yes.
But now it's still everything is full.
Well, we are very happy of the diplomacy of tourism, so sometimes you need you need tourists to be closer. We didn't need any getting closer with Russians and Ukrainians. We're already very close together, but okay, that is another kind of diplomacy. We have to stay strict in Western way of thinking in this, and we just cross our fingers that those things will go faster.
Okay, but that doesn't influence. But there are other people who are
I don't think. Well, look, there is always a cost for any good decision, and I think we should follow what our DNA says.
But it's not. But the beds are not empty. That's, I think.
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
Well, TUI will fill the gap. TUI will fill the gap.
No, but we see in destination. I have to say, it is remarkable full. It's remarkable full. No, particularly Greece.
Yes.
Very strong.
And about yes, I see in your last quarter that you expect to be a bit positive in the financial year.
Full financial years.
Yes, in the full year. Yes,
Yes.
now in the first months it's.
I mean, in the first months we have actually accumulated. In the first 6 months we have accumulated 600 million losses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the next 6 months, but the next 6 months will be different because of course it's seasonality anyway. But the full financial year is significantly EBIT positive, meaning after 2 years of losses already this year, and also from a liquidity perspective. I mean, we had state money. We are not using any state money now.
Yes.
Not a single euro, because our liquidity is strong.
Yes,
And we're handing back lines already.
Yes, I see that. Yes. Yes, you decrease the dependence of the. You stop the.
We stopped all drawings from the state now.
You don't need any more.
I mean, we can, now we give back a couple of lines. So we don't give back money because we have not received money, right? So we have lines. Yeah, this is credit lines. Yes. Yeah, but the credit facilities we give partly back now. A couple of facilities we will keep just as a safety cushion for winter, because then liquidity goes down, just in case we need it. Yeah. But it's more a safety line. Who knows what exactly happens, and so on and so on. But we have now the plan to return half of the lines will be returned, and then actually, of course, the season will be hopefully very good, and the bookings look very good, and then we will decide over the next steps.
Yes, you wait.
You know what?
Until end of we wait until end of summer season. We decide on the next steps.
We all need to gain our lives back, and without doing that only by using state money. So I want to add on what Mr. Joussen said, that what we actually need is alliances like the one you see today here. A responsible, mature, responsible destination, a very responsible tour operator, building an alliance that will allow them both to gain their lives back. We want to gain our life back. TUI is getting their profits back, hopefully this year, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I think that this is the strongest message out of this agreement here today.
Yeah.
That we work together. We work together to get our lives back, right? With respect to the money of what the taxpayers they're paying, with a great respect on that.
Yes, I see that. Okay. So 5 minutes. Does the TUI business model change with the COVID crisis? You will be lighter assets, for instance, or more flexibility for customers?
So first of all, I mean the asset lighter model, as you said, was already something we were introducing before the crisis. You remember that we sold Hapag-Lloyd, for example, into TUI Cruises. With that we became more asset-light because it was off-balance sheet. What we mean is off-balance sheet, right? And the same with hotels. I mean, there's enormous money, equity out, wants to finance real estate. So we have the first hotel fund. So important is we have control, we have the marketing, we have the product, we have sales, but we don't need bricks and mortar. In many cases, bricks and mortar can be financed by the by the financial markets. Separate asset classes, separate risk reward profiles. So therefore, that's what we do. In order to grow faster, that is the idea. Because we cannot have, when we want to go from 100 TUI Blue hotels to 300 TUI Blue hotels, we cannot invest in all.
No.
When you look at Hilton, when you look at Hyatt, in the very mature city hotellerie market, that's a very similar model. So I would say
Accor Group.
Accor Group. Yes, the leisure hotel business through the crisis got a push to mature faster. That like the city hotellerie group, and I think that's important. And of course, what we did was much more digitalization. I mean, we have now 70. Before the crisis, the digitalization already accelerated, but in the crisis even more so. And as I said, we have now 70% of our customers using our app. It's the main sales channel for our activities. It's the main channel to serve our customers. Departure times for buses, delay times for aircraft, and so we communicate, we market our services. So that has changed. That has changed in the crisis, and that has also accelerated our digital strategy, which we had started before the crisis as well.
Yes, because there is competition from the OTA.
That's also true, but I have to say, when you look, for example, now look at Rhodes again, the OTA model is working in times and in places where you have oversupply. When you have scarcity, it doesn't work. Booking, when you have two roads, is not a big player because you need an aircraft, and it's always scarce. I mean, so therefore, if you don't have a hotel and an aircraft, you will not have an offer. I mean, booking is very strong in New York or in Barcelona, where you have enormous amount of hotels. And if you want to book tomorrow, you can book tomorrow. You book a flight, you book independent or hotel. But we are in the business together to invest in destinations, to build destinations, and it's less independent. That doesn't say we don't do the other market as well. I mean, particularly on the accommodation-only field, we have grown a lot. But the package is still something which is, it's a separate market, so you cannot replace it.
The package is not dead.
The package is not dead. The package gets more dynamic. It gets more dynamically packaged. So it's less static. So customers have more choice, but it's still a package. You cannot swim to Rhodes. I mean, you can swim in Rhodes, but not to Rhodes.
The package will always exist, and you know what? It's good for the customer that the package will stay alive, and it will stay alive.
So you expect to be back on Rhodes?
Back on the road and back on roads.
And,
yes.
And also to growth.
No. I mean, revenue-wise. When you think about customers will be on pre-crisis levels or just there or thereabout, maybe 95 or 100% cumulated, after the season. But when you then say 20% higher prices, revenues, this price per times customer, will be higher than pre-crisis.
Yes, in this year or next year?
No, this year. This year summer.
Yes.
This year summer, I believe, will be the strongest summer season in terms of revenues, which we have seen. I mean, with that kind of price levels, it needs to be.
And you reduce your cost.
And we reduce the cost. Of course, the cost we can control, not fuel cost. I mean, fuel cost.
Yes, fuel cost.
Fuel cost has been $60 per barrel pre-crisis, and now is 110.
Yes.
So it is. I mean, that's something not in our hands. But here again, we have a more modern fleet. We have now the newer aircraft,
and you know what, this
consuming 15% less. But still, I mean, it is.
You don't hedge fuel.
We usually hedge fuel.
Yes.
But when we were in a crisis, I mean, we didn't have enough hedging nights. Now, that said, we have hedged quite some fuel in quite some markets. So our booking position is hedged, but usually we would have hedged potentially more. But that said, that is something now we have. The price levels are good enough in order to make up for the cost.
Yes,
and you know what? This is sustainability step number one, because we implement in ourselves the rules that we want to implement in the destination.
Because I've been in Rhodes, so I know a lot of things about Rhodes Co-Lab, and we discussed a lot. Two short questions about the season. First one, you said that you have a very strong demand, and your last flight to Greece will be at the 6th of November. Do you think that maybe you will extend the period, the flights, after the 6th of November? And second, if you expand your capacity, do you have probably maybe you will increase the capacity of your planes, your flights?
Okay, so both is, first of all, the flight plan itself is relatively stable, right? So it needs to be stable, right? Because a stable flight plan says, that you have also high load factors in the aircraft, which is very important. So sometimes we increase, but then we actually take other planes, bigger planes. Maybe sometimes we fly with a bigger plane I would say for this season, I'm not sure, because in the summer season, the peak season, everything, now is coming. July is tomorrow, so therefore I think maybe not. But this is a local market decision, right? Now by the way, also the capacity already today is bringing the whole system to constraints, and we have talked about airports. This is mainly, people had left tourism or have left airport, and now security staff, ground handling staff, it's people. We just need to also have a decent quality, so it's not only about aeroplanes. A little bit different, I would say, for the winter season. I don't want to say now it will be prolonged or can be prolonged. Of course, needs to be, again, a decision together with the local municipalities, because then these things. No, that said, November is already late for Greek islands, I would say.
I believe that at September this year, we will easily make the decision to take the flights until December.
Okay, so if that's gets, I think at the end of it,
the demand will be so strong on September that the market will have to, to answer to that.
And we will not be the bottleneck. If I think
that
if the demand,
good news.
It is, we did that, for example, last year.
Good news.
Last year we did that in Mallorca. It is not, and we decided it pretty short term, right? So it's not, that's something which, if the demand is there and we see these things, so I would say particularly in the winter season, that is something. So November is not the biggest travel month, so we should be, it is not that we have to actually take something away from here and put it here, but of course it needs to be an integrated decision, and if you say in September is maybe something to look at, is a good idea. I'm pretty sure that our markets will be open to discuss it.
Okay.
Okay.